Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. We dropped the kids off at school, put in on the local river here on this brisk April morning. We had a really warm last couple of days. The water temp actually pushed on the river here up to about 60 degrees in the backwaters. The main river is still like right around 50. I know because of last night, I mean, it's 29 degrees right now. We've definitely had some water temperature drop, but I'm going to go back and fish through this shallow backwater area where I know I've caught them in the past. It's a spawning area. They won't be spawning yet, but a lot of times they'll push back up just because the water temperature rises several degrees. So we're going to go back through that area, and I'm going to fish a bait I've talked about on the channel quite a bit. It's the Picasso Smartmouth inline spinner, and then I've got it paired up with a 3.5-inch Berkley Power Stinger. Just one of my favorite trailers. This is that color. What is the exact color? I always just call it the red. It's the Ghost Red Craw. I absolutely love it, and it's a great color in the stained water that we've got here. But I'm gonna be fishing this shallow flat that's got a bunch of scattered stumps, bunch of scattered laydowns. It's only gonna be a handful of feet deep, and because of the fact that we've had the water temperature drop, I'm going to throw the inline spinner versus throwing like a full-blown spinnerbait, because I generally feel like on these colder mornings where we've got temperature drop, the fish are more willing to bite a smaller spinner than say a full-size spinnerbait. So let's see if I'm right. Hopefully we can generate a few bites. The river has been known to make me a liar a few times, but I had a day to get out. I thought I'd take advantage of it. Want to see if I can catch a few fish before I have to head off for the next tournament. Where he is. Not a giant. God, he clobbered that. Well, that was like 4 casts. All right. So we've got just this shallow flat. So this, I mean, we're sitting in what, 4 foot of water. It's actually kind of 4 foot, about halfway to the boat, and then there's a lip, and there's just a little point that comes off, and that fish was sitting on that point. But the way I like to fish this smartmouth in this situation, just a real slow retrieve, but I like to actually let it go down to the bottom, and then like I'll actually just kind of pause it. I'm trying to keep it down there. Like you saw, I just clobbered a little piece of wood. There's stumps all over through here. There's all kinds of different bottom cover. There's no grass yet. I mean, it's still too early for that, but I just know that there's some scattered wood, a couple of laydowns, and we're just going down the bank. So I let it fall to the bottom. It's at the bottom. I give it a little pop to get the blades glowing, and then I'm just slow, straight retrieving that for a while. When I feel like it may have come up off the bottom a little bit or come over that ledge, I'll kill it, let it fall, start it up. But it's a really, really finesse-y spinnerbait, I guess is what I would call it. You're really not looking to do a whole lot. You don't have to be jerking it. I mean, you can start and stop it if you want to, but you don't have to do anything crazy with it. You just let it down there. The smartmouth itself, the jig head, is free, so you get a little bit of motion out of it. And I just feel like this is one of those baits, you let the bait do it. You don't need to overwork it or do anything crazy. Basically ate that on the fall. Ooh, that's a nice one. Oh, it's a nice healthy chunky pre-spawner. That's why it's so critical to let that bait fall. I mean, that bait was just falling down to the bottom, and he actually ate it on the fall. Because the key with this bait, like I said, it's you want to keep it in the strike zone. They tend to want to run at the level that you're retrieving them at, and you want to just slow retrieve them. So if you want them to run a little deeper, you got to let them get a little deeper is the key there. You know, you can't just cast it and expect it to dive. It'll stay, if you kick it in retrieve right on the surface, that's where it's gonna come at. If you let it fall down to the bottom like that, that's about 4.5 foot of water, and I start my retrieve, it'll stay down deeper. So both the bites I've had now are actually out a little bit. I would expect them, as that sun gets up, it's supposed to get up to like 50 degrees, they'll actually push up, but right now they're kind of down in the ditch, it seems like. At least that's where those two bites have been. And I gotta tell you guys, my hand is frozen right now. Golly, he neck slack into that. Oh. Oh, it's a nice one too. We're gonna have a fun day today, boys. And that's another 2 1/4 probably. I'll tell you what, one thing, so just from a fishing standpoint here, so I'm throwing this on 15-pound 100% Berkeley fluorocarbon, but this is a stout hook. This is the Smartmouth jig head that's in there, so you don't need to throw this on light wire, you know, or light line. I've got just a good, nice standard. It's their titanium weed guard, so from that standpoint, I can fish this through all the wood that I'm fishing it on. And then the Berkeley Power Stinger is such a good, tough minnow that it locks in place. I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually 2 real good bait keepers molded onto that hook. So this is not necessarily like a finesse thing. I know you're talking about a single spinner, and you want to say, hey, it's a finesse thing, but I fish this much more in a power manner. It's a 7.3 medium heavy, the NMB 873 blank. Fast action rod. So there's another one. Oh, that one feels good too. Oh boy. I'm not complaining, guys. And I'm telling you, this is one. Oh, that's a chunk. That's a pre-spawn female right there. This is one of those things where the fish are used to a big spinnerbait, and because of the cold morning, the water temp right now is 51 degrees. So it dropped off probably about 10 degrees in the last probably, I don't know, 24 hours, a little less. It was 60 degrees yesterday, so 60 degree air temp. So it definitely has fallen off, but this approach is just more of that finesse approach that the fish are more willing to hit on days when it's dropped off. But don't think it's not a power fishing deal. I'm throwing the 1/4 ounce head. You can throw, they come in a whole bunch of different sizes, but I mean, I'm throwing that bait 100 feet right there, and I can cover a lot of water. I can fish it on heavier gear. I mean, you see when that fish bites, I'm smashing it. It's not like fishing a traditional inline spinner that's got a little, I don't know, like a size 6 or a size 8 blade on the back. It's one of those things that you can hit them hard when they bite it. That's, how many have we caught? 4 fish? I've probably been fishing for 15 minutes. I like that. I needed that. Oh, just missed them. So in a situation like that, when you miss them, let that bait fall back. No matter what bait you're using, let that bait actually drop back. I know when I set the hook, I probably pulled it 8 feet out of there, but if that fish wants it and they're tracking it, a lot of times they'll stay on it. Let's see. So I just threw back. Let's see if we can get them to bite again. Dang. Oh, he got my tail. That's what happened. All right, new tail. I'll just show you guys quick. So this is the 3.5 inch power stinger. And I'll just show you, it's real easy to rig up. If I can feel my fingers and get this open. So they got 2 really good bait keepers on that smart mouth jig head. So you just thread it up like you normally would any other bait. If you need to measure it up, you can measure it up. I know roughly where I want this. Push it up and over. There you go, we got a new one. Now let's throw it back up there, see if that fish wants it. So these fish, every one of these fish, it's about 2 feet halfway to the boat, and then it drops down into 4. And that's where every one of these fish has been sitting, is on that lip. Feels good too. Might be the biggest one yet. Nice. Another 2.5. Oh, just cracking it. That is a number 5, guys. That's another 2.5. I was not expecting this morning, but I am not complaining at all. It is keeping me warm, and they are hitting it hard. And one thing I want to point out too, there's probably a lot of people are like, why aren't you throwing a boot tail? Well, you very much can throw a boot tail, but I'm throwing the straight tail power stinger, just the original. And that's solely to allow me to keep my bait down. If I was fishing shallower or everything was just a couple of feet of water, I probably would just be, you know, you could fish the paddling power stinger, the one with the boot tail, or whatever your favorite swim bait is. But I really like throwing the straight tail one, especially to get depth, but it just creates a little bit more streamlined profile. You know, you don't get as much thumping action, but even though it looks really muddy, we've actually got pretty clear water for here. We've probably got about 2 foot of visibility, which, you know, keep in mind, I'm only fishing 4 foot max. So from that standpoint, it's pretty clear and the fish don't have a problem seeing it. But you know, you could pretty much throw whatever you want on the back of these. That's one of the cool things about it. You could put a creature bait if you wanted to, or a cross style bait, you know, just play around with it. But the power stinger has been one of my absolute favorites. But this, dude, this little smartmouth inline spinner is such a little killer. I don't know what else to say. I've been throwing it for a while now, and it just puts fish in the boat when I need fish in the boat. And when fishing's going to be tough, or you got conditions like we have today, bluebird skies, really cold night, they are still eating it just fine. Well guys, there you have it. the fish are biting this morning. I got a little prototype I got to be trying a little bit too. Now that I know that the fish are in here, you can see this guy's been all beaten up. This is the Picasso Smartmouth inline spinner, the Berkley Power Stinger on the back, little 3.5 inch size. Such a good little combo for fishing around some of these shallow flats that have scattered wood, scattered rock, just a little bit of everything. Comes through great. I only got snagged one time today and I was hitting stuff on almost every cast. Just a great little bait to generate some good strikes. You saw we had fish, quite a few fish today that were in that 2.5 to 3 pound mark, which for this area, those are like tournament winning fish. So, man, fun morning. Now I got a little bit of work I got to play around with, but guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support. Stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow.